Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
I want to put this to rest. There is complete, open, honest discussion within the task force. Task force meets 3 or 4 times a week. Dr. Birx is not one to hold her tongue. Believe me, if there's a public health opinion that needs to be said, that needs to be it. And I respect Dr. Fauci a lot, but Dr. Fauci is not 100% right, and he also doesn't necessarily, and he admits that, have the whole national interest in mind. He looks at it from a very narrow public health point of view.
That right there is Admiral Brett Giroux. He's like the second in charge when it comes to underneath the Surgeon General. And it's very interesting when you listen to him talk there. Let's be real. I've said this from the beginning with Fauci. Fauci approaches this from a medical perspective. So it's about saving lives. It's not about the economy. It's not about getting life back to normal. It's not about going to sporting events and movies, any of that stuff. It's about saving lives. He took an oath. That's what he's about. Dr. Birx has always come across to me as somebody who understands the political side of what it is that they're doing there, because you can't look at the federal government and ask them for help and look for them to lead everything and not think there's not going to be politics. Fauci comes at it as I'm a doctor. This is what I need to do. This is how I need to go about doing this. It's about saving as many lives as possible. It's not about getting people back to the movies, sporting events. That's not what it's about.
Now, let me just say, we are not out of this at all. We're all very concerned. But we have seen this week a leveling of what we call the percent positive. That's our sort of first indicator. If that levels, we're going to start seeing emergency rooms drop, hospitalizations drop. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I'm saying the measures that we have right now indicate that we have a lot of cases right now, but the measures we're doing maybe putting the lid on that.
Is that true? Well, it depends on where you are, right? I mean, here's the thing. I've always looked at this like, tell me what the death rate is. Tell me what's going on there. Because at the end of the day, it's about saving lives. And death rate is dropping pretty steep. It's coming down. While the percent positive going up, the death rate is going down. They're learning how to treat it better. A younger generation now is the generation that is getting this, so that is going to bring it down tremendously, because a 22-year-old is going to have a better chance of an 82-year-old surviving this, especially somebody who has underlying health conditions. Think about who got this first and who really faced the brunt of this. And it wasn't just us. Globally, you look around the world, Sweden's death rate right now, everybody's like, Sweden failed. Sweden said a month ago, look, we failed at protecting the elderly, and we should have protected the elderly in a better way. And we failed in protecting certain immigrant communities who didn't quite understand when this thing first started what the potential was for this. But over the last several days, they've had virtually no deaths, zero, even though they were the worst in the world for a while. And they're, oh my God, it's a tale, it's a cautionary tale. They didn't shut everything down. Now they're at the point where on a daily basis, it's 1, it's 2, it's 0, it's 0, it's 0. I think we'll see the death rate continue to come down. The infection rate for a while is going to go up. Younger people out having fun, hanging out, doing things. Doesn't mean they're invincible. Doesn't mean they can't die. By the way, 30-somethings die with the flu. Young children die with the flu. Healthy people die with the flu. That's with a vaccine, and that's with treatments. We have none of those for this. But are we going to see this thing continue to rise? Yeah.
We do expect and are planning for and are surging people and everything else, but we do expect hospitalizations to go up. At the peak in April, we were at about 85,000. Right now, we're at 63,000, but we do expect those to go up. And unfortunately, even though the mortality rate, your chances of dying if you get COVID, are way reduced than they were before because we know how to care for you better. We have remdesivir, we have steroids. Even though the death rate, if you get it, is going down, your chances of surviving are much better. We do expect deaths to go up.
Yeah, because you're having so many people get it. The best thing you can do, wear a mask, social distance as best as possible. This thing it's much easier to catch. So just little things like that. And that's it. And I think that's what we need to realize. But we live in a political world, and politics can never step aside and allow people to just do their thing, whatever that thing is. Because why? Because we've turned this into politics. Doesn't matter what it is. Going back to school, who's leading this, who's not leading this, how this is going. None of it really matters at this point in time, because you look at politicians and their whole thing is, how can I score points on a Sunday? What can I say? Doesn't matter what side they're on. They're all pointing fingers at one another over a failed position. Nobody fails. There's no playbook. We've heard that 1,000. There isn't a playbook. Everybody's tried to do something a little different. The beauty of our country in a situation like this can hurt our country. We have freedoms. And when they start to go away, we're like, whoa, 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 whoa. So we have people that push back. Sometimes they do that because they feel like if you take one thing, you'll take it all. I don't buy into that. We have 50 individual little nations, essentially, running their own show. They want help from the feds, and at the same time, I don't know, I want to do it myself, and it's crazy. It sucks at this point in time. It's getting worse in some areas. Some areas are staying steady. Some are going down. But at least for the next few months, this is going to be a situation where we're going to see fluctuations. What does it look like in September? Couldn't tell you. July, we're expecting at least another 2 weeks here in the Southwest of continuing rising, I guess you would say, cases. Now, I look at the deaths. That's always been my thing. The hospitalizations and the deaths. That's the most important thing. The death. I don't care if 1 billion people catch it. If we can get it to the point where we mitigate the infection as far as what it can do to your body, and the death rate's virtually nil compared to 10 million people that get it, but it's a 20% death rate, if that makes sense.
The president has been a failure in every way. Right from the start, his denial, calling it a hoax, his delay, and all the rest have gotten us into a very bad place. But we want to go forward, and where we go from here is not to listen to the president because he doesn't listen to the scientists. It's very, very sad. Now he's messing with our children. We all want our children to go back to school, but we want them to go to school safely.
Chances of children dying, very small. Teachers, what do you do? That's the big question. They'll point out something, and this is the political world. Oh, this teacher over here died. And they weren't even in a room full of kids. We had a teacher out here that just died recently in Arizona. Remotely. Her and 2 other teachers worked remotely. She got COVID and died. She was older. She was in that area of probably, I'm going to say this, I don't know the whole things, but just based on a glance, probably not the most healthy. Well, that's still no, it is. It is. You have to look at all of these things. Kids dying from this, so rare. More kids will die from the flu. We're not shutting schools down for the flu. Well, they could spread. They could. And when he says, "Oh, you don't listen to the scientists," which scientist? Which one am I listening to? Because this one over here is telling me something totally different than this one over here. This one over here you like because it feeds a narrative. This one over here you won't even talk about because the narrative that you want to feed, guess what? Doesn't fit that bill. So I want to know which one I'm supposed to listen to. I'm just curious. Stop with the politics. Common sense. Have an understanding of what we're supposed to be doing in a situation like this. It does spread easy. We don't have any treatments or a vaccine, and that is going to take a while. We do need to worry about the economy because people's livelihoods are disappearing, and we're getting in a position where we're going to see evictions and, yes, foreclosures at a rate that blows 2008 away. And that's going to cause its own issues. There are a lot of things we need to look at. But when you're telling me pay only attention to this scientist, I put 10 of them in the room, guess what? 10 of them are going to give me a different answer. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at me, text the program as well. Hope you had a good weekend. Roger Stone didn't. So Trump didn't pardon him, came close apparently to pardoning him, instead commuted the the sentence, I wasn't thrilled by it. I wasn't at all. It was very frustrating because, look, did Roger Stone, here's the way I look at Roger Stone. Did he do some things? Yeah. Was he loyal to the president? Absolutely. Did they overdo with him? 100%. So there's a lot that goes into this, but Trump shows one thing. If you're loyal to him, looks like he may be loyal to you. It's odd that he's not done anything for Manafort. But does this mean anything to me? People say, oh, my God. I say, it doesn't mean a damn thing to me. You already think he's corrupt. You think he's evil. You think he's bad. You think he's taking care of his friends. Of course he is. It's Trump. The difference is he doesn't do it on the last day. He's do it right now. And that's a big difference. On the last day, you go back and look at all the pardons across the board in a lot of places on the last day or two of presidencies, and you'd be surprised. The difference is on the way out compared to in the middle of, gets a lot more scrutiny, especially this president. I can't be bothered. I don't get a trophy. Doesn't change my life. I've had Roger Stone on a few times. He's always been cordial. I think the dude is exactly what he is. He's a provocateur, pokes everybody, does some stuff of nefariousness. He's that guy that you don't want to need, but sometimes you need in the political world nowadays, and they will go too far. That's it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Twitter, feel free to tweet at me, text the program, Car Shield, 800-CAR-6000. Mention code Benson. Saves you 10% right there. Tough few months. One thing we know is we need our car more than ever. A lot of people out there uncertain about what they're going to do. Some of you may need a new car, but you're worried. I don't want to go out and buy a new car. Well, what do? You get Car Shield. And that will help with any of those cover repairs that you may have. Breakdowns. Yeah. What is it? I don't know. Your AC goes out. What is it? Oh, got to do cooling fans, timing chains, repairs, power windows, motor. You name it. Car Shield has a plan that fits you and your budget. And it's huge. I mean, it really is. You just call them up, 800-CAR-6000. Use code Benson. You tell them exactly what you're looking for. Rates start as low as $99 a month. No long-term commitments or contracts. You get 24/7 roadside assistance, a rental car for free. While your car's in the shop, that shop is the shop that you choose. Maybe your car, you're worried about the electronics. Maybe you're worried about the engine, the all of the drivetrain, all of that's what Car Shield will take care of. Call them up. Be specific, 800-CAR-6000, mention code Benson, or go to carshield.com. Use code Benson to save 10%. A deductible may apply. Chad Benson Show.
I, you, he, she, it. Lucy is a girl.
Point of personal privilege. Please do not use gendered language to address everyone.
Shut up, boo. Ain't nobody got time for this.
This is the Chad Benson Show.
You can't rule out the possibility of stay-at-home order. And so, we're analyzing it day in and day out to make a decision, but it's not something that I'm going to rule out at this point.
That right there is the mayor of Miami, Francis Suarez. Can't rule out a second stay at home. Last week here in Arizona, our useless governor, our governor here was, I've been here 3 years, and I said in those 3 years, I would have given him an A. The way he's handled this has dropped that down to a D. Now, I'm not for shutting everything down. I think you've got to give people the opportunity to act like adults. I think taking some precautions in certain situations and masking up, as everybody would say, well, you're taking away my freedoms, whatever but I'd rather, if they work, we shouldn't be shutting things down. If they don't work, then I shouldn't have to wear one. It's kind of the way I've always looked at this. But a second shutdown is going to crush a lot. It is. And it's not just there. I have friends who own restaurants, and they've said, look, I can survive it, but why would I want to? Because I don't know what's coming around the corner. And you're hearing on a daily basis, could be 2 years that we're going to be in this situation. Well, after 2 years, that's a long time right there. And it's the not knowing. If you told them, look, we're going to live like this for till the end of the year, but after the end of the year, all bets are off. We're opening it up. We're going to allow people to live their lives. Everything goes back to the way it was as far as you being able to do things, and we're not going to come and shut everything down. Well, people might rethink certain situations. But because they're thinking, well, tomorrow you could open me up. 2 weeks from now, you may shut me back down. A month from now, I'm open up again. And then 6 weeks after that, I'm shut down again. Or it's expand and then contract, expand, contract. It's too hard for business owners. It really is. So could there be a second shutdown? I think across the states, more and more mayors are calling for their governors to shut it down again. Will it probably happen in some way, shape, or form? I think all governors are doing everything they can to not have that shutdown. And what they're doing is they're doing it inch by inch. Okay, well, we'll shut this down. And then we'll shut that down. And then over here, we'll shut this down without saying, okay, we're back to where we were. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at us. You can, yes, text the program as well. Talk about the Washington Redskins. Oh, you said it. Talk about that. Can't believe you said it. I did. As we all know, they're changing their name. Right now, they're they should be just called the football team of the D.C. area. The NFL franchise in Washington. It's not a bad one. It's like the California Angels of Anaheim or the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. I don't even know. It's like the dumbest name ever. That's the dumbest name. So I just sit back and I think to myself, okay, so this is the crazy hyper-focusedness we have in this politically correct world. I want to talk about that straight ahead. I don't care what the name is. I want to talk about all this political correctness, this virtue signaling. At the end of the day, what has it done? Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Fact of the matter is, the only way we're going to be able to be opening schools in the fall is if we can drive down community transmission. And what we are doing right now is not enough. We need real stringent measures to be able to get this community transmission way down.
Way down. Dr. Ann Ramon, infectious disease specialist, UCLA, talking about we got to get this down. That sounds great. But what do we do? That's just it. Like, what do we do to get this thing down? We tell 20-somethings you guys can't go outside. We tell everybody you got to shelter in place. How long is that going to be? Well, until because remember, at first, during the whole coronavirus thing, what was it? Well, we got to get the hospitals ready. Okay, so we're going to shelter in place, make sure the hospitals have everything they need. Then we did that. And then slowly we started to open it up. And then people were like, no, that's too early. It's not about that. It was never about getting it to zero, because that's never going to happen. So what do we do? That's the $1 trillion question.
We have to really double down on our efforts right now. We need to be closing bars. We need to be closing restaurants. We need to be going as far back into the early phases of lockdown as we possibly can to be able to get our arms around this.
And if you are sitting there and you're listening to that, you're saying, I want this to come down too, but what do I do about my gig? What do I do about my job? What do I do about my life? Because the Trump administration has signaled a second stimulus, but they've not signaled an extension of unemployment benefits. So you may get your $1,200, but you may kiss your $600 a week unemployment goodbye. on top of your state unemployment? That's the big question. It's $1 trillion question. And when we come out of this thing, and if you think about this, I mean, they're talking about 2 years. It's one of the headlines of the chaos that you see. And COVID pandemic could last 2 years and change Americans' way of life. Well, wait, 2 years? Is it possible? Absolutely. Is it possible? We're not going to have... I figure we'll have a therapeutic that will really change the game sooner rather than later. I don't know when that's going to be. I would like to think, I thought they'd have one by now, but my assumption is before the end of the year, and probably before fall gets here, they'll have a therapeutic of some sort that will mitigate a lot of the damage that's being done, including the hospitalizations, which allow people to return to some normal way of life, meaning if you do catch it, they've got something that they can give you that will fight it. Like remdesivir, they only give it to the really, really sick. It's not like they're giving it to people that are early stages into this. So what would we see if this was given to people early into the game? Could that stop them from getting to the point where they get sick enough that they may have to go to the hospital? It's a possibility. We're a long way away, though, from any of those things. And what we are looking at is, in some places, running out of hospital beds. Other places we're not. Other places we're not. So it's going to be touch and go for a while. You just have to ask yourself, is your governor doing the right thing? What would you like to see done? For me, I think the governor here has done a piss poor job, and I think most governors have. There is no playbook. At the same time, you can put something together that shows that you want to protect the vulnerable, the elderly, because we realize that the vulnerable and elderly are the ones who will pay the ultimate price far more than the average person who catches this. So let's do that. And then I think you tell everybody under the age of 65 or 70, there are some risk involved with everything, and this is one of the risks. The best that you can do is wear your mask, try to socially distance, but live your life and take the calculated risk that you're willing to take in getting out there. And understand that we could do 1,000 different other things, but right now, this thing's endemic, not pandemic, which means it's here. It's not going anywhere. So we better figure something out. Because another 6 months, a year or two, who knows? But, I mean, are we going to be in a situation like this next year? I'm assuming we're going to be in some sort of situation where even if we get rid of this or it disappears, there'll be some flare-ups and some hot spots that we'll have to worry about because it's not gone anywhere. So let's have a plan. And the plans I've seen from the federal side of it all the way down to the local side have been a joke. It's either or. It's stay indoors or return to normal with very little things in between. It's where the common sense thing goes right out the window. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. Of course, for those of you not keeping score, yes, kids, the football team formerly known, that's what I'm going to call them, the football team formerly known as the Redskins. You said it. As the Redskins. It's getting a new name. I don't care what the name is. I don't. I know one thing. They're not winners. And that's pretty much all we need to know.
I'm a Washingtonian, so I'm a lifelong fan of the Washington football team.
Today, he leans even further into the culture wars, criticizing the Washington football team, which we will not name.
Pressure mounting for the Washington football team to change its name.
Long past time for the Washington football team to change its name.
You look at the Washington football team.
The Washington football team.
Washington football team.
Washington football team.
The Washington football team.
The Washington football team.
We reached out to the NFL, to Nike, to the Washington football team.
I can't wait to sing hail to the whatever it is.
About the Warriors.
Exactly. There can be so many options. So many options.
Yeah.
So many options. Oh, my God. So many options. What are we going to do with all the options? What are we going to do? Here's a question, because we're doing it, right, to make sure that the Native Americans apparently who are clamoring for this feel good. Right? That's what we're doing. What's it really do? I've interviewed Jonathan Nez, who's the president of Navajo Nation, on several occasions. 30% of the homes have no running water. Electricity at times is scarce. Schools, obesity, alcoholism, drug addiction, poverty, unemployment. Shall I go on? Do you think they woke up today and go, life's better? Did you hear? It's better. We've solved the problem. Was this the problem? This was the problem. Are you sure? It was absolutely the problem. I got no problem getting rid of it in this day and age. I mean, the first team that I remember getting rid of a name was the Washington Bullets, because D.C. had such a high crime rate. They got rid of the name, changed themselves to the Wizard. By the way, it doesn't matter which name they had, they're awful. So there you go. And I expect the same thing in D.C. Doesn't matter which name they get, I expect them to be pretty awful. But like pulling down all of these things, right? Pulling down the statues, what does it do? I'm okay with getting rid of the name. I got zero problems with that. When you look at it, could you see the offense in it? Absolutely. But on the what's the most important thing out there for that community and how we can help them? Does this rival the other things I just talked about? No running water. Think about that just for a second. Soak this in for a second. We have a group of people in America that live here in the Southwest, Arizona, Utah, I think some parts of Colorado, some of it extends elsewhere, New Mexico. Think about this for a second, though. 30% of them do not have running water in our country. This isn't some far-flung land in the middle of Africa that has been war-torn for the last 125 years, that every other day people are coming in and bombing villages and stuff. We're talking about in the heart of America. They're running water. These little gestures of wokeness make privileged white kids feel like they've done something. And again, go ahead, get rid of the name. Got zero problems with it. Looking at it, could you see how people could take offense to it? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, we're not dealing with the other issues. Like everything down. You tear down a statue, but have you done anything else other than make a certain group of people that are been put through years of schooling to go to potentially the I Hate America school, indoctrinated like that? Oh, we tore that down, we fixed the problem. No, we haven't fixed anything. We haven't fixed anything because we're not dealing with it. Because it's just easier to get a company to bow. It's easier to get somebody to change their name. It's easier to get woke and tweet some stuff and try to cancel something than it is to actually fix the issue. That's the reality of it. So the Redskins will do it. And they'll be no longer the Redskins. They'll be whatever. I'm just going to call them the team formerly known as Awful. And continue to be known as Awful. Sorry, producer Phil. But at the end of the day, when they wake up and they see COVID has run rampant, they see people struggling in a lot of ways with day-to-day living, unemployment, obesity, drug addiction, alcoholism, I mean, you name it. This probably doesn't make the top 10. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Tweet at us, text the program as well. Love hearing from every single one of you. It just drives me crazy. And I'm okay. Like the Braves said they're not going to change their name. The Indians have gotten rid of their mascot, and Chief Wahoo is not going to be on their sleeves anymore. I think they're going to keep the name Indians, and the Braves are going to get rid of the tomahawk chop. I don't know how that works in Florida with the Seminoles, because from what I understand, the actual Seminole tribe, it participates in a lot of what Florida State does, so they're totally fine with that. But it's get rid of it. That's great. But have you dealt with the problem? Have we figured out how to overcome some of these issues? No, because it's all about, look what we made you do. Look at this. Look how good we feel about ourselves. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Twitter, tweet at us, text the program as well. Love hearing from all of you. Valor Gold. Look at the marketplace. Could you imagine what this is going to be like if this thing goes on for a year plus from here on out? What are you doing to protect yourself? Borrowing from the government, corporations, everything through the roof. U.S. dollars lost a third of its value in the past 20 years. It's time to look at protecting your assets and retirement and growing it as well. That's where Valor Gold Group comes in. They got over 50 years of experience in the precious metals industry. They want to show you can diversify your investments, protect you from stock market losses, and also an immediate source of money when you need it, and that is gold and silver. It is IRA qualified. That's great. Here's the beauty of what they do. They take the old school, understanding how to read charts, understanding how to do a lot of different things, and they combine it with the new school, computers, technology, algorithms, and they get you into a place where you're protected on the downside with upside opportunities that are amazing. If you'd have put the same amount of money in the stock market as you did and 20 years ago, and then matched that in the gold and silver market, guess what? Gold and silver outperformed by 300% over the past 20 years. Now's your chance. Call Valor today, 800-202-6936. You get a free exclusive copy of the number one way to protect your wealth with confidence. 800-202-6936 or valorgoldgroup.com/Chad. VALOR goldgroup.com/Chad. valorgoldgroup.com/Chad. Chad Benson Show.
Set Chad straight. Text the show, 323-538-2423. That's 323-538-CHAD. Someone has to do it. Might as well be you. The Chad Benson Show.
Kelly Preston's husband, John Travolta, confirming his wife's death on Instagram, writing that after fighting breast cancer for 2 years, Preston has died. The news comes as a surprise, as Preston's cancer diagnosis was not public knowledge. Travolta writes that he's grateful to all the doctors and nurses that helped Preston and the friends and loved ones that have been by her side. Preston and Travolta had been married 28 years and had 3 kids together. Kelly Preston was 57.
Yeah, they kept it quiet, probably because of the Church of Beep Boop. Didn't want it out there. Chad, don't say that. 57. And nobody knew she was sick. A lot of people don't realize that John Travolta was married to a woman. And, man, I love Kelly Preston. She was in Jerry Maguire, but she's in a lot of movies. She was just in a ton of movies. It was just a trip. Like, nobody knew. Like, that's how quiet. And in this day and age, think about how hard it is to keep anything quiet. Anything at all. And just because you've got social media, you got people around 24/7. Everybody's always looking to make a buck, willing to sell something to the highest bidder if given the opportunity, and kept it quiet. I looked up today and I'm like, did she die in a car wreck or something? No. Nobody knew. It's amazing. That might be the saddest part, is her dying at such a young age. And the most amazing thing is that nobody in Hollywood or people outside had no idea.
I think it's time to take a hard break.
Lady Antebellum recently changed their name to Lady A in a nod to the current national conversation about racial injustice. But they didn't check first with this Lady A. Anita White's performed as Lady A for 3 decades. Lady Antebellum sued her last week to share the name after saying talks with White broke down. Now White's responded, writing in part that she doesn't want to share and saying it's, quote, absurd that Lady Antebellum has chosen to show its commitment to racial equality by taking the name of a black woman.
So wait, you guys are getting woke now. You didn't know what the name, you didn't know what the Lady Antebellum, Antebellum, any of that stuff meant. You're getting woke now, and to get woke, you're going to use Lady A from a lady who's had it for 30 years, and then you sued her because you want to share the name. That is, talk about some cojones. That is embarrassing. Why don't they go as Lady Ant? There you go. Adam Ant won't care. You can do that. Perfect. Problem solved. Lady Ant. She gets to keep Lady A. You are Lady Ant. It's the best we can do on such short notice of your wokeness. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. Text the program as well. Love hearing from every single one of you. It's the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
I want to put this to rest. There is complete, open, honest discussion within the task force. Task force meets 3 or 4 times a week. Dr. Birx is not one to hold her tongue. Believe me, if there's a public health opinion that needs to be said, that needs to be it. And I respect Dr. Fauci a lot, but Dr. Fauci is not 100% right, and he also doesn't necessarily, and he admits that, have the whole national interest in mind. He looks at it from a very narrow public health point of view.
Fauci, for the people on the right, is the bad guy. He's evil, he's bad, he's the villain in this. Anybody who speaks against him for the right is a good guy. And on the other side, anybody who speaks against Fauci or goes against his wisdom is the villain, and Fauci is the hero. Here's the reality of it. He's a doctor, been in this game a long time. Smart dude. He's admitted, made some mistakes. Nobody knows where this is going to go. He's been on record saying, we don't have to worry about this. You don't need to wear a mask. Well, we did need to worry about it. And you do need to wear a mask, according to him now. Frustration? Absolutely. I don't think he's a bad guy. He's a doctor. And he takes the doctoring side of things, not the politics side of things, in a much different way. That right there was Admiral Brett Giraud, who was appointed by Trump as the Assistant Secretary for Health under the Trump administration. The way that Fauci approaches it is pretty simple. He comes at it from a health side. I want to keep you healthy. I want you to live. I don't care if the entire political spectrum falls apart and everybody's unemployed. My goal is to keep everybody. He cares, but that's not his first thing he cares about. The other side of things, Dr. Birx, Shiro here, several others, they weigh both sides of it because it's a political world. And at the end of the day, people point fingers. And you've got to battle through that. And this is one of those situations. Percent positives going up. Death rate currently going down. But who knows where this is going to go in the coming weeks and months because we know very little about this. Remember, it's novel still.
Now, let me just say, we are not out of this at all. We're all very concerned. But we have seen this week a leveling of what we call the percent positive. That's our sort of first indicator. If that levels, we're going to start seeing emergency rooms drop, hospitalizations drop. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I'm saying the measures that we have right now indicate that we have a lot of cases right now, but the measures we're doing maybe putting the lid on that.
Is it putting a lid on it? Depends where you are. And depends who gets it. At the end of the day, who's catching it most now? Younger, 20, 30-somethings seem pretty healthy. Well, there's some that have died. Of course. Look, you turn on the television. Remember that the media has an awesome agenda, which is getting you to watch. And what's the best way to do that? Well, they'll show you a train wreck. They never show you anybody goes, yeah, I had it, and it was like a little cold, and I moved on with my life. They never show you that. There's no story there. There's just like no story, and somebody goes, well, what happened? Well, the police officer pulled me over, and we had a conversation, and he was pretty cordial, and then he sent me on my way. There's no story in that. There's no story in that. So you have to find the story. This person did that, and this is the way it affected them. This person was, there's no story in what the narrative is that they want. CNN and MSNBC want to show you that this is truly the worst thing in the history of the world. And if you catch it, even though the data shows that the chances of you dying from it, even if you're not young or healthy, is still, I mean, not every person who was old that got this died. It just didn't happen. There are people who survived this. Just, But they want to make you think like this is, did you see that movie Outbreak? Yeah, this is that thing. You catch it, you're pretty much done. Could be hours. You don't, and nobody knows. Nobody knows. Wow. But that's not true. There's narratives in everything they do. We have to be wary. We need to be smart. Mask up when you have the opportunity. It's about respect. That's it. It's pretty simple, you would think. And then other people in the right side of the media want you to think that this thing's just a giant hoax and it's the worst thing in the human history that we've done to our economy, and not just here, but globally, and that this is no big deal. And that's not true either. We don't have a vaccine, and that's going to take at least a year to get it to the point where it's circulated enough. We also do not have therapeutics at this moment in time that are early in the game that are able to help out. So, not a hoax. Could it be overblown? I think at times it's a little overblown. But I look at the hospitals. Hospitals are struggling. Absolutely. Here's something very interesting that they don't talk about. You go look at March and April's numbers when it comes to the death rate in the country. We're just not talking about this, but everything. I think in March, compared to the last 4 years, deaths alone, and this is combined deaths, were down. It's how you weigh it. It is. We're still going to lose 650,000 people this year to cancer, almost 700,000 to heart disease. We look at this, and this sucks, and it's taken a huge bite out of us, and we apparently aren't old enough and mature enough and responsible enough to deal with this in a way that normal people would, and we're fighting over the dumbest things. That's what we love to do because we've turned this into politics. Somebody take a deep breath and don't watch the news. Just tell everybody that. You watch the news? I read a lot. I read way too much. And that's part of the confusion in this, because you can find absolutely juxtaposing positions on every single thing. I mean, everything. Should wear a mask. You should wear a mask. It's airborne. It's not airborne. It's a death sentence. Yeah, chance of you dying, even if you're sick, is small. It's I couldn't tell you. It's not a hoax, but is it overblown? Absolutely. Can we have hot spots that get us into a situation where it's bad? Yes. But look at the death rate. It's continuing to come down. But these numbers, look at the death rate. They're continuing to come down. Look at a lot of different things out there, not just how many % positives there are. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. You can, text the program as well. Love hearing from all of you. And this is what I find to be interesting as we head into the school year, because Jack went home yesterday and it bummed me out. And we don't know what's going to happen in the school year. This is another part of an issue that is really important. Because what happens? I mean, what is going to take place in the coming weeks and months for school? Because even Fauci's like, we need to get kids back to school. This is not good for their psyche. It's not good for their health. And we need to keep them in school when it happens.
Just another in a series of outrages when I think about this. The president can't just bully or tweet that schools are going to be safe. We have to do the work. If they were serious, they would have passed my bipartisan bill called the Reopen Schools Safety Act, and we would have done it before Mitch McConnell decided that the Senate should be on recess for 2 weeks. I'm talking to teachers, superintendents, parents, all across Michigan. We're running out of time to be able to get them the resources.
And what are those resources? Because I'll tell you this right now. I want to know what you guys are looking at across, because I know what we're looking at here in Arizona, and there's already, I think they said 8 out of 10 teachers don't feel comfortable going back in. What are those resources for the kids?
We've got to make sure our teachers have protective gear, our bus drivers, custodians, everybody working with children, that the classrooms are distanced appropriately. They address what's happening in the cafeterias, the buses, and so on. That takes resources. And the way we fund schools, because it's related to the economy, there's been less revenue available at the state. So money's gone down for just regular school operations.
Well, it's what happens when you close everything. The tax revenue to fund it. You're not going to do, my son's 10. Let me tell you what I know about Jack. He wore a mask the other day into a little store that we had to just run in really quick. And it was 5 minutes of an annoyance. So you can count that out. Secondly, you can't ask him to wear it all day. You can't ask him. I mean, I'm hearing stories here where they're like, well, we're not going to let the kids go outside. I'm like, boy, you guys going to have fun. 6 feet apart. You got 30 kids in a classroom in some states. How are you going to do 6 feet apart? It's insane. If you're going to send them to school, let them go to school. Look around the world and see what's going on around the world. And you have to ask your teachers, who's willing to come to school and understand that there's a risk that goes along with this. Well, we shouldn't have to do that. You shouldn't have to do that. Why? Why is it you shouldn't have to do that? Yet the person up the street who's working at Walmart does it. It's curious. I mean, it's tough. It is tough. It sucks. That's why I say we need to ask them who's willing to not take a chance. Again, look at the numbers. And we're not even talking about the numbers we have now. They say they miss 10%. I mean, they say for every one that's positive, it could be up to 10. That puts it in the flu rate or just above. So what is it we're looking at here? It's what I want to know. I think it's fair because you're asking parents to make decisions in the coming weeks and months about what they're going to do with school. And let me tell you what the last thing that and me being a parent, doesn't want to see. Jack go to school for 3 weeks, they shut it down. They come back 4 weeks later, they shut it down 2 weeks later. Jack's teachers spend 99% of the time not teaching, but doing what? Playing, don't touch that, get away from them, step apart, go away, go over here, get in this bubble. Social distancing police. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at us, text the program. It's a lot to take in, but I think most parents are like, I got to figure out what I'm going to do. And for me and Jack's mom, we're thinking it's just best for not only for him, because he does have an aunt that he spends a lot of time with who has double lung transplant 3 years ago and cannot afford to get this. And the fact that the not knowing what's going to happen tomorrow when it comes to school, that it's just best that maybe he just does everything online at least for a year till they know that, hey, we're going to open schools back up. We're going to keep them open. And I think a lot of parents are making those decisions. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Twitter. Summer plans look a little different. You're home. Why? Well, obviously we know why. Maybe you put on a few LBs as well. Oh, it's a possibility. And maybe you're just sick and tired of trying to piecemeal stuff together at night for dinner. How about this? HelloFresh. With HelloFresh, you can choose from more than 22 chef-curated recipes each week. Low-calorie, vegetarian, family-friendly options. Make any night feel extra festive. They even got surf and turf, craft beer, taste tours, you name it, they've got it. This is what's great. 20 minutes, boom, you've got it right there. You put it on, away you go. Rock and roll. It's incredible. Food is delicious. And recyclable packaging, pre-portioned ingredients, cut down home food waste by 25%. So you'll feel good knowing, hey, I have to go to the grocery store, and this is just awesome. 40% is what you're going to be saving versus shopping at your local store. That's also good in the time of, well, all of us looking around to see how can we save. HelloFresh is it. It's flexible. It'll fit right in your lifestyle. Get started with America's #1 meal kit. Go to HelloFresh.com. Use promo code Benson for $80 off, including free shipping on your first box. The promo code Benson at HelloFresh.com. $80 off, including free shipping on your first box. HelloFresh.com. Promo code Benson. Chad Benson Show.
Check out our Chad Benson Show Facebook page where you can hang out or hang your grievances out to dry. This is Chad Benson.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition, liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending. What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old internet. What's trending? So much stuff is trending on the interwebs. Kids, take Pete. Kelly Preston trending, both Google and Twitter, passed away at age 57 from cancer. Nobody knew that she had cancer, kept very quiet. John Travolta and family released a Instagram message talking about the passing of his wife. Dan Snyder and the Washington Redskins are trending because he owns the Redskins. The good news is, if you're a Redskin or Washington football fan, is this may get him out of football. He's just an awful owner. What will the Redskins be? Well, we know. Do we care? Not really, because they're awful. That's all that you need to know. They're awful. Dr. Fauci is a hero. Hashtag Fauci is a hero. Trump and Fauci, they're just battling back and forth. I think both of them are, this shouldn't be political. Fauci is coming at it from a doctor's perspective. Trump is coming at it from a Trump political perspective. And it shouldn't be this stupid that we're battling over it, but it is. Trump, of course, tweeted out the CDC is all lying. So that just sits there. What do you do at this point? What do you do at this point? Adrian Wojnarowski, ESPN NBA insider, has been suspended because he sent a profane email to a U.S. senator about Black Lives Matter and the NBA players wearing social justice names on the back of their jersey when it kicks back off. And, of course, that led to an argument because that's all we know how to do at this moment in time is just argue all the time. That's it. Doesn't matter. Sky's blue. No, it's not. Sky's purple. I'll tell you why it's not. Ocean's blue. No, it's not. Ocean's salty. Not today. I'll tell you why. MAGA, not MAGA. So stupid. Some of the things trending around the world. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Defund the police. Don't defund the police. AOC has something to say about it, and it's just hilarious what she says. And I'll tell you why straight ahead. Chad Benson Show.
Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
People want to look at those hand sanitizers, look for the ingredient isopropyl alcohol, at least 60%. Those are safe. Methanol, very dangerous.
Very dangerous. Don't use methanol, says Dr. Jen Aniston.
Now, at least 59 hand sanitizers, most of them marketed under the name Blue Men, have been contaminated or contain the toxic ingredient methanol that should never be in a hand sanitizer. Skin absorption can produce toxic and, in some cases, deadly results.
Dr. Jen Aniston. Smart. ABC medical correspondent right there talking about it. That's good. Good sanitizer. Bad sanitizer. No methanol. Stay away from the methanol. What about if you get sick, Doc? What about, you get sick and then you get past this? What about the old antibodies?
This is not yet peer-reviewed data. It's not yet published, but it does echo previously published data about the antibody protection that people naturally infected with SARS-CoV-2 develop. And this data suggests
what? That it goes away slowly but surely over time. That's what it does. Over time, it goes away. No.
This data suggests that those antibodies fall off or fade after just 2 to 3 months, potentially leaving that person vulnerable again to reinfection.
Uh-oh. Oh, no. My free pass isn't free?
They're looking at the difference between people who were asymptomatic versus symptomatic, suggesting that people without symptoms have even less immunity going forward.
Translation. If you were sick and you test for the antibodies, but you didn't really have it, like as far as the symptom side of it, you weren't sick, you didn't have fever, you didn't have a headache, you weren't nauseous or achy or any of the stuff that you would think, well, if I'm sick, this is what I'd feel like. The chances are that you have some antibodies, but they're not as strong and as powerful as the people that showed symptoms and were sick, where they were knocked on their butts for a week or 10 days or whatever. Not peer-reviewed. What's it mean? Doesn't mean anything. Nobody knows. Again, nobody knows. It's the craziness of this. What do you know? We don't know anything. Fantastic. Sounds like fun. We know nothing. What we do know is that we need a vaccine. And the vaccine isn't going to be, I think a lot of people think, and we don't know yet, that you get it once and then it goes away. I have a feeling the vaccine is going to be much more, because I do believe if this thing's sticking around, and it could just disappear one day. As quick as it came, it could disappear. That this could be a situation where it is endemic, meaning it's always going to be here, so it'll be something like the flu, and that you may have to get it every year or take the risk of not getting a vaccine. But you need a certain kind of mass of people to get the vaccine, so at least 50% of the population is vaccinated or has some sort of immunity to it, which will then charge into the herd immunity, which slows this thing from spreading. But no matter how fast we move on the vaccine, we're still, I think, a ways away from getting to the point where we have the vaccine. We believe this is the one that works. Now it has to go into production, and then from there, the mass quantities of it going out, not just here potentially. Maybe they find it over in Europe. Maybe they find it here. Who knows? Then getting it out to the people globally.
Pfizer and its German partner received fast-track designation from federal regulators for 2 of their potential coronavirus vaccines, meaning quicker review and closer communication with the Food and Drug Administration. Pfizer and BioNTech are researching 4 different versions of their vaccine, but 2 have seemed especially promising in early studies. The companies called the new designation an important milestone as they get ready to begin the next phase of clinical trials. If proven safe and effective, the company said they could make about 100 million doses by the end of the year.
And I've talked to several doctors who's like, I don't know, I'd wait. Doctor in here 2 weeks ago, him and his wife were like, we're going to wait. We're going to wait and see what this looks like after a year. And the reason is, let's just see if you grow a third arm. Here's the great news. This is fantastic. You didn't get coronavirus. The good news is you're now allergic to light and water. Oh, wait, what? Yeah, that's the bad news. So you got to stay indoors, hide, and find hydration somewhere else. somewhere else. Oh, my God. But you didn't get the coronavirus. That's good for you. It's going to take a while, I think, for people to feel comfortable. Because there are a lot of people out there that want to see this thing go away, that are interested in taking the vaccine. And then there are a lot of people out there that have I'm interested in the vaccine, but I'd like to give it some time. Just want to see what it looks like. It's like when Microsoft tells you to download something and it's great. It's Microsoft 10. You're like, I'm going to hold off. I'm going to use this for as long as I can. I want to see what everybody else says. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. AOC wants to defund the police. Not a shocker.
People who hold a curling iron in a hair salon have to go through more hours of training than a police officer does to wield a deadly weapon.
First of all, I'm going to say this. Whose fault's that? Police should always do ongoing training. And why is it that somebody who's got to cut hair and do things of that nature has to go through years and years of ridiculous training at times? And have specialty licenses, and it's just nuts. Continue. Sorry, I didn't mean to bug you.
We have given the New York City Police Department $6 billion. They are choosing not to spend that money on education and training. If you think more money is going to solve this problem, I'm sorry. I have a deep disagreement, and I have come to a very different conclusion.
Of course you have. So more money. So think about what she said. More money will not solve the problem. So more money is not going to solve the problem as far as policing goes. So more money doesn't solve the problem. So taking money away doesn't solve the problem. Now listen to this.
Maybe if we rewind, zoom out, and give people repeated stimulus checks so that they feel like they can stay in their homes, maybe we'll see a mitigation of crime.
So more money, not the problem to the police. So he's not going to solve that. If we give people money to stay in their homes, we may see crime go down. She's not finished.
Maybe if we actually funded schools, and instead of having 10 cops pat kids down on their way to class, maybe if they had 10 social workers or counselors or nurses saying, how are things going at home? What if we actually funded the summer youth employment program so that teenagers aren't hanging out with nothing to do being teenagers?
Well, so more money won't help one, will help another. See the way that goes? More money won't help police, will help if you give it to people across the board. More money is bad for officers. We need more social workers. We need more this. We need more that. Well, we need money over here. Nope. Those are bad. Bad. Look, I think cops need more training. I think they need ongoing training all the time. I am all for that. I'm absolutely all for that. More and more training. Spending a day a week training, spending a day a week inside of the community, spend a day a week of the shifts that they're doing, learning, developing, zero problems with that. I think a lot of officers would like that. But this world right now, tight budgets don't lend ourselves to have the opportunity to allow some of those things.
That is how you bring down crime, not putting 10 more tanks on the damn street. That's not how you do that.
No, we don't need tanks on the streets. We don't. What we do need, though, is police reform that's smart. Police reform that's real. And you're not addressing the inner city issues. Fatherless homes. Can't talk about that. Right? Can't talk about any of those things. We're not addressing some of the issues we need to truly be addressing because you don't want to talk about that. It's a joke. It is. Look, I am all for some police reform. I think they need better training. I don't think our cops need to be messing with 90% of the things they're messing with because we've asked them to solve problems that they shouldn't be solving. Because really, like, if you go and look, the fabric of the American family, especially in the inner city, has been destroyed for years and decades. It has been just crushed. Kids out of wedlock, fatherless homes, abject poverty, broken school system with no chance for choice. Right? We don't want that. You can name 1,000 different things. We need to fix policing, and we need to take a more modern approach to it. But defunding it, paying people to stay at home so there's no crime. Are you kidding me? My God. That is insane. And the training? Absolutely, they need more training. Jocko Willenick, former Navy SEAL, was watching him, one of his numerous interviews he was doing, and he said, look, cops need more training. When we go do a tour, we have a 6-month deployment. We train for 18 months. Now, cops don't have that luxury, but we need to do more. We need to do more. We need to think out how we modernize policing. But cutting it, it's just, you look what's going on. Like Seattle. Well, they don't have a lot of murders. They have a lot of murders for a long time in Seattle, but crime's through the roof. Why? Because cops don't do anything. Just don't. Crime is through the roof. Petty crime. And as long as it's not your pettiness, then what do you care, right? Like if somebody's taking your stuff out of your work. If somebody's doing something horrific in your front lawn. If somebody's robbing your house. As long as it's not you, what do you care? It ain't me. It's nuts. There's better ways of doing things. But we've got too far into this world of lunacy to have real conversations, and that's what's sad. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson shows your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program as well. Love hearing from all of you. Purple, how did I sleep? Deliciously well. Thank you very much. Technology has improved. Phones, cars, shopping. By the way, they've got a new airplane that they're rolling out here. 1,700 miles an hour. New Concorde. Things are improving left, right, and center. Sleep has never really improved. The only technology kind of went into was up, down, up, down. Purple came in and said, now I'm changing everything. Patented comfort technology instantly adapts to your body's natural shape and style. Purple is for every body, no matter how you sleep. Soft where it needs to be soft, firm where it needs to be firm. And by the way, 2,800 open-air channels, naturally temperature-neutral gel. Never too cold, never too hot. It does it all. Here's the beauty of it. 100-night trial, risk-free, free shipping, free returns. You try it out. It is incredible. It will change everything. The sleep that you will get on this is otherworldly. Experience the next evolution of sleep. Go to purple.com/Benson. Use promo code Benson. Save $150 off any Purple mattress order over $1,500 or more. It's purple.com, promo code Benson. Purple.com/Benson. Use that promo code to save $150 off. Terms apply. Chad Benson Show.
Being antisocial sucks. Hang with Chad's friends on Facebook, The Chad Benson Show. And if you just need some alone time, head on over to Twitter at Chad Benson Show. Either way, we can't wait to meet the real you.
These are not innocent social apps. They are used to basically steal personal and financial data from individuals. They are used to steal intellectual property and proprietary secrets from American businesses. They can be used to surveil and track you.
TikTok, the battle of what to do, what not to do with TikTok. I don't think you'll be able to get rid of it. I hate to break the news. I just don't think that TikTok's going anywhere anytime soon. So what do you do? That's, the app was going to be banned. It was going to be banned on Friday. It's going to be banned here and there. It's being banned in some countries, but we're going to have them help participate in the banning of it. So that's kind of an odd thing. How does that work out exactly? Then you've got things like this. Amazon. What did they do when it came to TikTok?
Amazon telling its employees to delete the app TikTok from company phones.
Boy, they must have really seen something in the app
that they didn't like, because this person at Amazon said, when we are given a heads up to either update our devices about something or to remove something, you're given like at least a week. In this case, the email went out today at noon and demanded that employees remove TikTok from their mobile devices by the end of the day.
By the end of the day. So you get this sent out, right? So did they or didn't they? It's okay. So send it out, right?
At first, the email was sent to only U.S. employees, and that makes sense. It's the U.S. that's considering banning this. And then it was sent to employees outside the U.S. Is this Amazon being proactive and confirming that Amazon thinks there's a security concern? Or is it that Amazon sees the writing on the wall and believes that indeed the U.S. government is going to ban it?
I don't know. It's very interesting. I have a TikTok account, but it's only so I can spy on the kids. So Jack's not doing anything stupid. Because that's where all the kids are. We've opted in, 1984, right? Like, oh, Big Brother, we've opted in. We say, hey, Big Brother, it's totally fine. It's like a vampire. We invited Big Brother. I don't trust anything the communist government has their hands on in China. Period, case closed, end of story. And if you do, you're an idiot. Well, they say, but nobody here paying attention who's on TikTok cares. They're dancing, right? They're shaking it. They're making funny videos. They're not thinking about, are they stealing my information? Are they doing anything nefarious? Why? Because people don't care. That's the reality of it. People are living in their own little world, and they could care less. They think, Chad, it's couldn't care. It's couldn't get. They just don't care. They're dealing, wheeling, having fun, living their lives. They're living in just whatever zone they're in. They're at home. They're bored. This gives them an opportunity to have fun. Continue, Amazon.
Very often these security concern stories come out, and at first there's some outrage and everyone retweets it. Oh man, watch out, XYZ app is harvesting your data. But then people kind of shrug it off and they move along because they like the app too damn much. I don't think the kids on TikTok care much about what Mike Pompeo said. They don't. They'll care if it actually gets banned because then they can't use it. But anything short of the US banning it, I don't think you're going to get people to stop using it. People like to say they're outraged when they hear about their privacy and security being taken advantage of by tech platforms. But in the end, they don't really care that much.
No, as long as they're having fun. That's the reality of it. If they're having fun, they don't care. I got nothing to hide. What would they want anything from me? They don't get it. Big picture, small picture. 323-538-2423. By the way, Amazon finally said, well, you guys don't have to worry. You don't have to delete that. You don't think China's stealing stuff? My goodness. Well, we're not. They're going to keep all our information off the mainland China. I believe that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Twitter, Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
One of the things that was heart-wrenching that he said to his nurse was, I think I made a mistake. And this young man went to a COVID party.
Chief Medical Officer for Methodist Hospital, Dr. Jane Appleby, says the man was just 30 years old.
He didn't really believe. He thought the disease was a hoax. He thought he was young and he was invincible and wouldn't get affected by the disease.
Appleby says lately she's been hearing about COVID-19 parties.
Someone will be diagnosed with the disease and they'll have a party to invite their friends over to see if they can beat the disease.
Yeah. Remember when you were a kid and they'd have the parties for chicken pox? Figures it's just easier for everybody to get chicken pox. Have a chicken pox party. Somebody go over and you have a sleepover at somebody's house and everybody get the chicken pox together, and then because you're only going to get once, and was it going to kill you? These people are going out. And look, this is not a hoax. This is not a hoax. But is as deadly as the world makes it out to be? Everybody's got to take their calculated risk. This was a guy who thought it was a hoax, apparently. And because of that, they're making a big deal out of it because he did die. He did. And that's awful. Nobody wants to see anybody die. I remember once thought it was a hoax. Do I think it's overblown? I think you could absolutely look at this and say the media has played this up for every bit that it can get. Every bit that it can. 100%. You could show people, all right, here are the real numbers. Here's what we think the numbers are. Here's the declining death rate, and it wouldn't matter. And part of that is because it's easy to hate Donald Trump. I don't care if you hate Donald Trump. I don't care if you like Donald Trump. It means very little to me. Donald Trump means very little in my life. My family, my work, all of that stuff. I don't care how you want to play it. At this moment in time, whether you love him or don't like him, hate him, he's your Yahweh, he's the devil. All you're doing is allowing somebody to live rent-free in your head and taking up too much space when you should be. There's other things to focus on. But I look at the media and I see the way they play this, and here's the reality of it. They never play the person that had it and it was like, a little bit of a head cold, a little sore, but after 2 or 3 days I felt fine. Moved on with my life because there's nothing there. When we hear about cops and interactions with police, very rarely is it about the cool cop that was walking down the street and, decides, hey, I'm going to do something cool. The kids are playing basketball. They're dancing. Watch, let me show you how good of a breakdancer I am. No, it's never that. Right? That goes viral a little bit, but it's always about that thing. And then the media blows it up. Oh, because there's always some sort of agenda. There is. Media loves dividing us because they know they've got an easy opportunity to do it. Especially now. We're pissed off, we're angry, everybody's got a platform to scream and yell at each other about. So they take to those platforms, they let everybody hear their voice. This was a bad situation for a guy who died at 30. Now you've got the CDC versus Trump. You got the battle with Fauci and Trump, which shouldn't be a battle.
I want to put this to rest. There is complete, open, honest discussion within the task force. The task force meets 3 or 4 times a week. Dr. Birx is not one to hold her tongue. Believe me, if there's a public health opinion that needs to be said, that needs to be it. And I respect Dr. Fauci a lot, but Dr. Fauci is not 100% right, and he also doesn't necessarily, and he admits that, have the whole national interest in mind. He looks at it from a very narrow public health point of view.
That's Admiral Brett Giroux, who's also a doctor, pediatrician, works in the Trump administration, in the Health Services Department. Fauci doesn't know everything. Fauci comes at it from a much different perspective. He comes at it like, I'm a doctor. I've sworn an oath. I'm here to do this. I don't want to play politics. But when you're in a position like that, politics is a huge thing. Dr. Birx understands the politics a little bit more. She gets it. Nobody wants to see anything shut down. Nobody wants to see us go backwards. But we've got rising issues, especially in the Southwest. Florida, Southeast, but they've got issues. Texas, Southwest, they got some issues. Arizona, serious issues. California, growing issues. What's the death rate like? I want to know the entire picture. What's the death rate? We're never going to know the entire picture, but give us as much as you possibly can. And that's something that we don't see. Because you have a chance to say, look at this, and you want to tell that story, as we've talked about in politics. You only want to give one side of a story. What's your narrative? Well, if your narrative is Donald Trump's the worst person in the world, look at this. Let me tell you why. He wants to send kids back to school. He wants to do this, that, and the other. He's the worst of the worst of the worst. Well, then people are going to go and do that. And that's what we have over and over again. If your narrative is the greatest, you're going to give your side of the story based on probably not all of the data either, or no data at all. And you're going to throw it out there. Neither one is really right. So I get frustrated, as a lot of you do. Who wouldn't get frustrated? What do I know about this? It's real. It spreads fast. Based on what I see. But do the antibodies, if you have it once, how long do they last? Nobody knows. All right, so take that away. Nobody really knows. Kids, asymptomatic. Who spreads it? Nobody really knows. Okay. I'll go that away. What about people under the age of 65? What's the true death rate of just the average healthy person? We don't really know. I guess we don't know that either. Kind of know, but don't really know. How many people do you think have it or have had it compared to what the actual test numbers are? Are those people tested twice? Do we have double positives? Do we have double negatives? Tell us. We don't really know. Testing's kind of a joke. It's frustrating. It is. It's absolutely frustrating. But what we can see, rising cases, hospitals feeling the pressure. And by the way, not everybody in the hospital. That's the other thing. You'd make it think when you hear, well, the hospital's almost done. We got 99.3% of the hospitals fill. You think, well, everybody's there for corona? Nah. Only about 20% here for the coronavirus. Or 15%. Or 22%. What are everybody else there for? Well, for a myriad of things. Cancer, heart attack, surgeries, car accidents, etc. Oh. Well, what's the real number then? Those are the things that we need to know. But it's hard to put it together. And that's the frustration level. Because we've made everything political. We've made everything political. And that's not going to change anytime at all. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. Speaking of school, will the kids get back to school?
The president has been a failure in every way. Right from the start, his denial, calling it a hoax, his delay, and all the rest have gotten us into a very bad place. But we want to go forward, and where we go from here is not to listen to the president because he doesn't listen to the scientists. It's very, very sad. Now he's messing with our children. We all want our children to go back to school, but we want them to go to school safely.
Oh, he doesn't listen to the scientists. Okay. No Republican ever listens to science. That's what I always get all the time. Republicans never listen to science. Which science am I supposed to? I'm not a Republican, but I'm just curious from both sides of you. Which science am I supposed to listen to? Because you can put a scientist over here and they're going to say, this thing is bad. It's the worst thing ever. Everybody needs to watch out. And this person over here, also a scientist, also a doctor, will say, it's not much more dangerous than the flu. Well, who am I supposed to listen to? I'm curious. Depends on where you are. What fits your narrative? What do you want to be true? If you want it to be true that this thing's deadly, you're going to listen to this person over here. If you want to listen to this person over here to tell you it's not much more than the flu, and that fits the narrative in your mind, you're going to listen to that one. Well, I'm somebody who wants to just know the facts and data. I'll make up my own mind. But I don't want it to come from a position of, here, this is politically expedient for what we're trying to get out there. And that's the tough thing. I spend half my time researching to find out how crappy is the article I just read in their facts. You know how hard that is? To spend the majority of your time doing something where all you're trying to find out is how much is real and how much is baloney. How much mustard do they put on something? Or how much of it's actually telling us a bit of the truth or the whole truth. That's the sad thing. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at me, text the program as well. Raycon's best earbuds around. You're home. Why? Because you're home. That's why. Sitting around, going, what am I going to do? Got nothing going on. I got to work from home. As you're working from home, you're getting frustrated. Why are you getting frustrated? Because kids in the background screaming. You got to make important phone calls. You got a Zoom meeting, all of those kind of things. What are you going to do? You can get yourself Raycon's best earbuds around, less than $100. I'm going to save you even more money on that. Comfortable, stylish, no dangling wires, no stems, seamless Bluetooth pairing, 6 hours of talk time, and the nice noise isolating fit will allow you to make a phone call and hear the person on the other end of the line, and they're going to hear you. Will allow you to do a video conference call without those silly little dangling stems or the wires and not look goofy. It will allow you to also hear the people on the other end of that. Get yours today. Way, way, way cheaper than a lot of those other ones out there are going to spend a ton of money on and not get not only the comfort, but the durability that you can get with Raycons. Go to buyraycon.com/Chad. Save 15%. Buyraycon.com/Chad. Buyraycon.com/Chad. Chad Benson Show.
me a bowl of chili with plenty of peppers.
One Mexican heartburn. Why don't you mugs grow up?
The Chad Benson Show, where independent, a la carte thinkers have a seat at the table and a voice in the dialogue.
I'll have what she's having.
This is Chad Benson.
This is a process that usually takes other teams anywhere from a year to 2 years. And so the Redskins are fast tracking this at this point in time. We use that name because they're still referred to as that on the letterhead because they don't know what to do right now. They're still trying to figure out a lot of logistical issues before training camp. So I guess we call it the Washington NFL franchise for the time being.
Crap. You can call them crap. They're pretty useless. Although this year they shouldn't be that bad. Ron Rivera, I think, is going to help out. That right there, Adam Schefter, talking about the Skins changing their name. Daniel Snyder said he was never going to change their name. The woke culture's finally got to him. I think he's going to sell the stadium. I think there was also some input from the NFL that says, look, we know you guys want a new stadium. We know you want to move. We're going to do everything in our power to make sure that we can help you guys get exactly what you want. Now, producer Phil, where FedEx Field is now is nowhere near. It's outside of D.C., right?
Yeah, about 8 miles outside.
Yeah, and I think they want to get closer. Some other things they want to do. But they're going to change their name. So the NFL football franchise of Washington is their name.
They are trying to get that new name pinned down. There are some trademark issues that they're trying to work out. But again, this is a process that usually takes a long time, and they're trying to get this done in a much shorter period of time than it's taken other teams to get similar name changes or logos change or whatever it may be.
We'll see. We'll see what they eventually decide with. I wouldn't even know. Like the Generals? That'd be good, right? Because they're kind of like the Generals. You guys don't know who the Generals were? They played against the Globetrotters. Never really won. But it can't be the Generals. Because the Washington Generals would be bad. Because Washington is inherently bad because he was a racist, evil man. So you got to get rid of that. We're going to have to change Washington State's name. There's a lot that goes into this. How about the blanks? Let's call them the Washington Blanks. Insert name here depending on how the team is doing. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at me, text the program as well. Love hearing from all of you, as you know I do. This is somebody who is coming hard for Trump. Former ex-Republican Steve Schmidt.
I think the president is stepping forward, intimating that he's somehow doing a good job. And of course, it's all theater of the absurd. None of this stuff is possibly justified. His conduct is abhorrent. He's desecrated his office. But more than that, without exception, he's the worst leader in the history of the United States in a moment of crisis who is ever charged with any responsibility.
Is he the worst leader? What side of the aisle you're on? If you're on one side of the aisle, he's amazing. If you're on the other side of the aisle, he's the worst. What do I think? I think, I don't turn to my politicians to see if they're going to lead me in these kind of situations, especially on the national side. I want you to make sure you take care of immigration. You protect our country, things of that nature. You've brought in the Faucis and the CDCs, and they're supposed to be working with the states, and those are the ones who are supposed to be protecting us or helping us along with this. And even at that point in time, I don't look at them to do anything other than what can I do for myself to make sure that this pandemic, even if it affects me, that I can mitigate the damage, but also live my life. That's what you need to do. Personal responsibility, and stop looking for these people to lead you anywhere. None of you listening are going to follow Nancy Pelosi out of a house. She's not leading you anywhere. They just happen to be people in the public eye who are politicians who people turn to, hoping they're going to be the answer to whatever prayers they have.
These Republican senators, not only are they demagogues and silly people, they're just empty vessels. Again, They're the type of soulless men and women we see in this terrible age that care nothing for the ideas and ideals of the country. And they would be comfortable as apparatchiks in any authoritarian regime. They're not in it to make the country better. They're small and silly men at a serious hour. And that's the crisis we have in the country. It's a crisis of unseriousness.
It's a crisis of unseriousness. Well, sign me up, because I love unserious stuff. I think we could all use some unserious times. Oh, Steve Schmidt. Wow, drama much? These people are failing us. Who's succeeding? Just curious. Who do you turn to? We need a leader. We need a leader to get us through tough times. As far as what? To be there for us, yes. To come out. But as far as getting it through it, that's going to be you on your own. Just throwing that out there, kids. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
We're just having a roundtable discussion here on the Chad Benson Show of what team names need to go next in sports. The Chiefs, the Braves, Cowboys. Does that need to go? The Padres, because that not only, what did you say, Phil? It promotes patriarchy?
It promotes the patriarchy.
It does. Plus religion. Can't have that. So another one needs to go. The Braves and Indians have already, I don't know about the Indians. The Braves said we're not changing it. The Seminoles, Florida State, that is not going to happen because of the close relationship with the Seminole tribe that Florida State has. So that's not going to go anywhere. The Rangers were one that we thought of. The Yankees, White Sox, right? So got to get rid of those. Those are just some of the stuff that I think needs to, we need to talk about. And this is, it's funny that we talk about this because I don't know if you've ever read, is it Tatiana? I think is her name, Tatiana. It is a parody account. All right? It's a parody account that is this guy put together that is absolutely the funniest thing. And right now they're up to, I think, 20-some things that are racist. And they do, she does it, and it's a guy, does it in increments of 4. So we're up to 20 things. But some of the stuff that they've posted, these are all real headlines, which makes you just laugh your butt off. Right? So, like, Deadspin Writer calls for the Masters Golf Tournament to change its name. Masters Bedroom, we've talked about before. Sean King wants Jesus statues to be taken down. And then there was, do you think chess is racist? You're like, this is real? Yeah. These are little things. And it's funny because the some of the stuff is hilarious. You're like, there's no way. Here's one. New York Times. This is one I think is hilarious. Washington Post. The best white statement to make right now is to shut up and listen. That's hilarious. Because here's something from Katie Clark, who writes, white silence is compliance to the role of white people in Black Lives Matter movement. So you're damned if you do. If you're silent, you're racist. If you talk, you're racist. It doesn't matter. More of these. The unbearable whiteness of hiking and how to solve it. Somebody wrote an article about that. Somebody sat down and go, you know what? Hiking's a white people thing. I don't hike, by the way. Just nothing about that is appealing to me. At all. Just zero. People of color experience climate grief more deeply than white people. Like, how do you know? Oh my, like, this is... Here's one of my favorites right here. This is a real headline from a real, honest-to-goodness publication. This is Tatiana McGrath. If you've never seen Tatiana McGrath, it is a parody account, but it's hilarious. Be mindful of opening up meetings and interactions with questions like, how are you? Or how was your weekend? Recognizing that by doing so, you can potentially be re-triggering what your black colleagues are experiencing or dismissing their experiences by pretending all is normal. It is not and hasn't been for a long time. How about this? Minorities in the United States breathe in more air pollution caused by white people. These are real things. These are real things that people have actually written down and put out there. NAACP, this may win everything. Are you ready for this, producer Phil? Anthony, you guys hold on. NAACP links earthquake signs in Oregon to white supremacy.
How?
Yeah. It's real. Just soak that up for a second. Soak that up. Thank God we have them.
Social justice warriors. It's the bias response team. If you've been offended, freedom of expression is a microaggression. Here comes Angela Freddy. He's always ready to fight fascism with fascism. Starbucks windows don't stand a chance.
I tweeted it out. If you guys haven't seen it, check it out. Wait, there's more.
Using the powers of screaming and shame, they win every debate by calling you names. They're heroes who think that they're victims. Social justice warriors. Victimizers beware. The racist and bigots' greatest nightmare. Social justice warriors. Get bigger.
Oh, God, that's so real. That's what's sad. There are people out there that really believe that. There are people out there who walk around every day being microaggressed. I don't know. I don't know how you get to that point. I don't. I just, because most of them are white young men and women who've grown up with their evil privilege of having the opportunity to go to school, having the opportunity to get an education, then being indoctrinated into the I Hate America Club, because that's what they really want to do. Everybody's bad. Everything is evil. This entire nation is disgusting, vile, and evil and needs to be destroyed, and they're here to take it on. They're here to take it on. They're here to chop it down left, right, and center and sing songs like this.
Aim to be an American where not all folks are free. And I won't forget the enslaved who died and built this place for free. So I proudly lift up all the folks who are still oppressed. Cause there ain't no doubt this ain't our land. Trump and the USA.
Solid. So sad. It is. It really is. Well, Chad, you just got to understand something. You don't get it. No, I do get it. Look, you're not going to get any argument from me that we've had issues here in this country. I think the thing is I just don't look at everything as bad. I can't be that pessimistic person who walks around and thinks the world's been destroyed and will continue to do so, and that everybody who's screaming and look, it's nuts. I'm listening. I always say I'm reading, but I'm listening to a book about white fragility. And it is an absolute disaster. It really is. And people are buying this thing, and this is like a number one on the New York Times bestseller list. And it's if you say you're not a racist, you're a racist. If you the only thing it's like the old witch trials, right? Like we're either going to drown you, and if you don't drown, we're going to burn you at the stake. Either way, We're coming for you. And it's sad. It is. We're being gobbled up on the inside. And the whole hope is that it eats itself first before it gets to the point where it's too big to slow down. You hope so. And that's why it's interesting, because you got the Lincoln Project, which hates Trump. So you got all these Republicans who can't stand Trump. I think a lot of it's led by Kellyanne Conway's husband and several other people who can't stand Trump. But what they are doing is they're pushing all of these other senators and Congress people on the right side of the aisle. Just because they don't like Trump doesn't mean they want to get away from being conservative. So they're pushing this. And let me tell you something. I worry about what Biden may do based on the fact that I don't think he'll do much, meaning other people are going to run this thing. And while Trump is at times a huge pain in the butt, he says stuff that's crazy.
Biden is a puppet of Bernie Sanders, AOC, the militant left, the people that want to rip down statues and monuments to George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Franklin, Jesus. Okay, Jesus. Statues to Jesus. So we're dealing with a group of people that they will not win. But this election coming up is a very important one. Nobody will be safe in a Biden America. But Biden doesn't know what a Biden America is. If you ask him to define it, he wouldn't even know what it is. But other people do.
Yeah. And look, Trump's got some real points to make there. Well, Jesus, that's stupid. No, people are calling for it. I said a month ago, they're coming next for Mount Rushmore. I got blowback. What are they trying to do? Sandblast Mount Rushmore. Let's get rid of it. You name it, they're coming for it. They want to destroy it all and tear it all down. I don't think we can deny that. It's just how much reach and power do they have? That's a fair question. And I look at Biden, and I don't think Biden has the strength to fight it off. I don't think Biden 4 years ago, 8 years ago, 12 years ago, if he was president and running, back then, would be a pushover. Right now, I don't think Biden has any chance, if he was to become president, to really have a say. I don't know how much of a say he would even recognize. Like, that's also a fair question. But I have some serious issues about some of this. Because I do think when you hear the AOCs of the world, when you hear, now listen to this. This right here is insane. This is a councilwoman in Seattle, Kshama Sawant, who I believe is the one who also gave the keys to everybody, if I'm right, about to the CHOP people. Listen to her talk about capitalism and how they're coming.
I have a message for Jeff Bezos and his class. If you attempt again to overturn the Amazon tax, working people will go all out in the thousands to defeat you. And we will not stop there, because you see, we are fighting for far more than this tax. We are preparing the ground for a different kind of society. And if you, Jeff Bezos, want to drive that process forward by lashing out against us in our modest demands, then so be it, because we are coming for you and your rotten system.
Coming for you and your rotten system. She's not done.
We are coming to dismantle this deeply oppressive, racist, sexist, violent, utterly bankrupt system of capitalism, this police state. We cannot and will not stop until we overthrow it and replace it with a world based instead on solidarity, genuine democracy, and equality, a socialist world.
Good luck. Socialism works nowhere. Ever. It works in Sweden. It's not socialist. They're not. How many times I tell you, they're a free market capitalist society with high taxes. They're not socialist. The funny thing is, when you ask somebody who says what works in Sweden, I said, well, so if we're going to do the same thing that we do in Sweden, no more death tax. Well, no, we need a death tax. Why do we need a death tax? We don't want people passing on their money. School choice. Well, no, we don't want school choice. So you want all of the things as far as the taxes and the control of the government that Sweden has, but you don't want to give the free market things that Sweden does either. Interesting. They're coming. They are. And I don't say that lightly, but they're trying their damnedest. They are. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at us. And I don't care if you're a liberal. I don't care if you're a staunch conservative. I don't care if you're an independent like me. We can't let lunacy run everything. That includes extremes on both sides. But we can't, because this woke world that of cancel culture, destruction, and you only believe what I believe or else, that to me is scary. It is. You know what's not scary? My dog Doodle. Why? Because he's little. But he's healthy. And that's something I couldn't say 4 months ago. He was in pain, bad hips, could barely run and moved. He was always kind of nippy and bitey. And now, no, totally happy. Life has changed. Those fatty tumors, they don't hurt him anymore. Why? One simple change, Rough Greens. That was it. That was it. Rough Greens is incredible. 25 all-natural vitamins and minerals, 20 digestive enzymes, powerful strains of probiotics, omega-3, 6, 9, tons of antioxidants. It's incredible what Rough Greens has done. You just sprinkle it. It's not dog food. You sprinkle it on your dog's food, stir it in. They're going to love it, and away it goes. What it does, though, is it's changed my dog and many other dogs out there. Check it out for yourself. Super inexpensive, right? It's 14-day jumpstart, $14.95. You watch what happens after 14 days to see the difference in the pep in the step of your little pooch. It is awesome. Rough Greens can reduce or completely eliminate your dog's symptoms. Go to roughgreens.com/chat or call 833-MyDog88, 833-MyDog88, or ruffgreens.com/chat. Your dog will love you for it. Rough Greens, we make any pet food better. Chad Benson Show.
Warning, no snowflake zone. Uninformed opinions are in danger of melting. The Chad Benson Show.
Let me be blunt. Too many countries are headed in the wrong direction. The virus remains public enemy number one, but the actions of many governments and people do not reflect of this.
That's the Director General of the World Health Organization, Tedros Adhanom, from Eritrea. Just wants everybody to know that this is public enemy number one. Of course it is. Why? Because look what it's doing to our economy on top of the health side of it. It's kicking its ass. Now we've got some states looking, do we go back to phase one? Do we go back to phase 0? Do we go back to where we were in March and April? Start reining things back in? I think you have to look at all of the data. What's the pressure like at your hospitals? Do you cut back on surgeries? Because if you take away a lot of those elective surgeries, you're going to open up probably a large swath of beds. Your hospitals won't feel so crunched. That's one of the things. Restaurants, things of that nature. I mean, everybody's trying to figure it out. My God, they're talking about air conditioning. I want you guys to understand that. Air conditioning. Could air conditioning be a problem?
How far a cloud of droplets carrying the virus can travel without a mask? As far as 8 feet. But what happens when there's an AC unit nearby?
We've been inside of air handlers, and so we have found the genetic material of the virus, the RNA of the virus in air handlers, which gives some pause.
University of Oregon professor Dr. Kevin Vanden Weimelenberg and his team swabbed AC units. They found traces of the virus on 1 out of every 4 samples, even ones with good air filters.
So you're telling me I can't have air conditioning? Slow your roll. It was 118 here yesterday. I'll tell you right now, I left my house this morning at 3:10 in the morning. It was already 100 degrees. Sorry, it's not going to happen. So my choice is you can die potentially from this or that. It's insane. We can't go to the pool if it's a public pool, right? Good God. How about this? You guys out there, don't turn to politicians. Look to yourself. Use common sense. Respect each other. Use good hygiene. I bet that goes a long way. I know that I'm asking us to do that, but I think here on the Chad Benson Show, for all you guys out there, I think we could do that. A blessed and wonderful rest of your day. We'll do it again tomorrow. Night-night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.